Welcome to Duck Season Somewhere podcast. This episode is brought to you by the following sponsors. For 365 days a year, it's duck season somewhere at Ramsey Russell's GetDucks.com. The world of duck hunting is way bigger than our backyard. The very best duck hunts in Argentina and Mexico are only the beginning. We specialize exclusively in 6 continents worth of proven waterfowl hunting adventures. Whether you're looking for a unicorn species or a fun trigger pulling vacation of epic proportion, we've got the right hunt dialed in. Real duck hunts and authentic experiences for serious duck hunters. As a genuine American duck hunter myself, I know the difference. Founded in 2003, GetDucks.com is not just what we do, it's all we do. I've been there personally many times. Our reputation speaks for itself. Anita and I are personally available to assist before, during, and after your trip because you deserve nothing less. Looking for something closer to home? The next great hunt is closer than you think. Contact proven operators throughout the U.S. and Canada at our U.S. hunt list. Explore worldwide duck hunting at GetDucks.com. All package details, photos, videos, stories, and thousands of client testimonials right there at your fingertips. GetDucks.com. Ball Shot Shell's copper-plated bismuth tin alloy is the good old days again. Steel shots come a long way in the past 30 years, but will never, ever be like good old-fashioned lead. No way. Say goodbye to all the gimmicky, high recoil, compensation, science, and marketing hype, and hello to superior performance. Know your pattern, take ethical shots, make clean kills. That is the boss way. The good old days are now. It really is duck season somewhere for 365 days per year. Duck season somewhere takes me year-round to worldwide destinations where I visit with the most interesting people. I'm your host, Ramsey Russell. Join me here to listen to those conversations. This is Ramsey Russell, Get Ducks. And I am at Dallas Safari Club Morning 3, and it's been a heck of a show, man. It's been a ton of traffic. All these folks saying the economy's not doing good need to be in a business or be associated or be in an environment like this where people are buying hunts and hunt-related products from all over the world and just see the flow of traffic and listen to the people at the morning breakfast is saying, it was a great day. We had a lot of people coming through. Been a lot of fun, met a lot of people from around the country, tapped in with some old friends here at Dallas Safari Club, not the least of which is Zach Meyer of WildEar. Zach, how are you this morning?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm good. What'd y'all do last night?
Don't
tell me you went to bed at 8 o'clock. I know better.
No, we didn't do that. We went out and got some dinner with some customers and then went out.
What is your take on Dallas Safari Club? This show, better, worse than years past? How's it going for you?
This show is one of my favorites, hands down.
Why?
Just the people.
Yeah.
Everyone here, both the exhibitors and customers walking through the floor.
And the staff. I've told a million people, and this is the truth, as an exhibitor, you got to get set up. You got to come in the back door, preceding the event, Get all set up. And these guys throw a barbecue. They're friendly. I've known some of them now for 10 years, and they treat me like a friend.
It feels
very hospitable.
Yeah, big time. It feels more like a party or social gathering than a show. It
is.
Like I look forward to this one. It's like, hey, I get to go see faces that I don't normally see or don't normally hang out with.
Yeah.
And it's like, hey, dude, how are you? And it's like your best buds.
Yeah. Or somebody comes by at 5 o'clock and say, what are you doing for dinner?
Yeah.
Nothing. Let's go.
There's a ton of on the fly, like, hey, come do this. And it's like, sure, why not?
Duck hunting is a social sport.
Big time.
So unlike somebody coming to buy a elk hunt or something you can go do by yourself and
sit in a tree by yourself.
Most guys want to talk to their buddies, talk to their families. So I really don't measure the success of an event by how many checks we take.
No.
We take checks, we don't. It's like this. Like I look at my watch, it's 9 o'clock. 5 minutes later, I look at my watch and it's 1 o'clock. 5 minutes later, they're turning the lights off and I hadn't sat down all day. That's the measure of a good success. And it's like Popeye and his spinach. The more people that come through, man, the more I get energetic, the more it's just an energy. And I've come by your booth a few times, and y'all are just slammed. I mean,
swamped.
Y'all are swamped, you know.
I looked at Corey yesterday. Loeffler's down here helping me work the show, and I looked at him, and I was like, dude, it's 3:30 already.
I know. Martha elbowed me yesterday and said, I kept saying good morning when people come in the booth. She's like, it's 2:00.
Yeah, I did a double take on that, too.
You know, and I love it, though. It's just people. And then the real fun to me, look, I'm an old duck hunter, and I duck hunt all year long. So really, you know, practically the whole year of getting up at 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, no big deal.
Man, about 8:30, 9 o'clock, I'm ready to hit the pillow. No shit.
Yeah.
10 o'clock, I'm lights out, man.
Yeah.
But I still like to leave here about 5 o'clock and go eat dinner, have a cold beer, socialize, meet people. You know, if I go out with you, there's 5 people I had never met. If I go out with him, there's 3 people I've never met. And just the stories I hear about people's hunting experiences or life, it's just incredible.
Yeah. There's a ton of knowledge down here.
Yeah.
Even asking them just like, hey, what would you do? Or what do you do? You know, like that part to me is probably one of the best from being down here. Because I've never done all the fancy exotic stuff, but you sit here and talk to people and they, I mean, you see everything down here, the super flashy all the way to, you know,
regular folks.
Yeah.
But they're all hunters.
Exactly.
That's just it. And it's like, you know, my little niche at Dallas Safari Club is the world of duck hunting. You know, people come by the booth to see the bar-headed goose or the Cape teal or something they've never seen before. And it's like I have to actually have a little repeat, little crowd that comes through.
Yeah.
Especially on Member Day to see what new birds we've got. But at the same time, I'm in this massive thing, and I see animals and critters, and I start thinking outside my world. Well, I'd kind of like to go climb a mountain maybe and shoot that animal. That's kind of a cool animal.
Yeah.
You know, or just experience some of this stuff. Zach.
They're not just hunts though. Like they're doing, it's the full experience, you know?
It's the full experience.
It's the four flights in, you know, and one flight is a no fly because of weather or whatever. And then you talk to them about that and they're just like, hey dude, it is what it is.
That's part of it. Yeah. Half the adventure is just getting there sometimes.
That's right.
Try going up. Hey, try going from Mississippi to Minneapolis and get caught in some traffic, buddy. I mean, that's a mess.
Yeah.
You know, it happens. You know, anywhere in the world. Dak, tell me this, because I've known you for a good while, but I've never hunted with you. Not yet shared a blind with you. How did you start hunting? How long have you been hunting?
I got into waterfowl hunting pretty heavy in college. I had always grown up with my dad and uncles upland hunting and just sharing the deer camp thing. I never got to deer hunting with them. I always had to sit in the camp or sit at grandma's house when they all went hunting for deer, you know, but that was the Minnesota deer hunt where there's 10, 12 uncles out in the woods and it looks like a meat, you know, procession coming home.
Dragnet of orange.
Oh yeah.
Coming through the
Orange
woods.
Army for sure. A bunch of pumpkins out there.
Yeah.
You know, so all my cousins, we'd go up there. We just love the tradition of it, you know, so we would upland hunt. We'd go pheasant hunt. You know, but that was the same type of thing, you know, 6, 7 trucks back then it was station wagons and minivans and whatever you had.
Yeah.
You know, get in, the dogs were sitting in the middle of the van and everyone pours out of the car. It's awesome.
Right.
I had my little BB gun and again, I couldn't load it. So I would actually I'd stuff it, my BB gun. I'd put my BB gun in the ground with snow so the cap was full and then I'd pump it and I'd shoot it and I'd at least get to see the snow shoot out of the gun.
Yeah.
And I never got a gun. So I'm just walking.
It's crazy how we start talking about your origins of hunting and fond memories of shooting snow out of the end of a BB gun.
Oh, it's the best.
That's part of the process.
Yep.
I mean, those memories of just being out, being with family, being in a fun environment.
Yeah.
It hooks you.
Yep. That's all I wanted to do.
I almost feel sorry for some of these kids that step out on the first hunt at 5 years old and shoot a 170-inch whitetail or something. I mean, what's the point?
I don't know how you ever top that.
No.
You know?
Where do you go from there?
You know, not me.
But you grew up in around Minneapolis.
Yeah, I'm right in 5 miles west of Minneapolis, of downtown. So, you know, I didn't have a ton of opportunities close to hunts. You know, so we'd always have to go where my folks grew up, which is, you know, western Minnesota. And
God, that's some beautiful country.
It's awesome.
What do you call in western Minnesota?
This is up 94, so it's to me it's northwest Minnesota, but it's probably central western Minnesota. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that freaking western Minnesota, eastern North Dakota, maybe if I had to just put my finger on a U.S. map, this is the most beautiful part of America. I think that's it.
It's nice country, for sure.
Yeah,
it is.
I really think every time I go through there, I feel like I'm on a Little House on the Prairie or something. You know, it's just like, God, this is gorgeous.
Yeah.
You know, so do you remember you started duck hunting in college? And a lot of people are surprised to learn that I did too.
Yep.
You know, I remember going out, not shooting, just going out once or twice with my granddad. I went out and absolutely dove hunted with him, but duck hunting was just his health failed. Go out in the duck blind, the wet dogs, me wrapped up in a warm blanket or something. You know, that's back in the day. You didn't buy your kid $1,000 worth of gear, man. You just had you had grandma's old coat and whatever else you could wrap up in if it was cold, you know. And but really, I got into duck hunting. Gosh, it had to have been the very early '90s, which seems like yesterday, but it's been a while. And I was in my 20s.
Yeah.
When I really truly got into duck hunting.
Yeah, got the bug.
And it was a 2-mallard limit, and I was hunting with a fraternity brother, and his crowd, which chief of police West Allen, Arkansas. They hunted public land timber. In Arkansas, the limit was 2 mallards, and their whole aura was not about shooting ducks.
Yeah,
it was about landing them.
Yep, finish them.
Man, I mean, the first big water mallard come in, boom, boom, I'm shooting. And Mr. Boyd was so nice, so fatherly. He said, "Son, I'll call the shot."
Yeah.
I know some folks would have cussed me or thrown me out of line, but he didn't say that. Because he knew I was just raw and green and excited. And about the second time it happened, he said, look, son, let me explain how this works.
Yeah.
He said, anybody can shoot a dumb duck coming in the wood like this. We want to own them. We want to land them.
Yeah.
We want to own the water. And then we're going to shoot them just because that's what we're doing. But that ain't the point. The point is landing them and owning those ducks. And that really, that ain't the way I hunt all the time, but it really, it just something. And it hooked me through the roof of my mouth like a big old number 5 hook. And I'm stuck for life. I mean, that was it, man.
Oh, it's unreal.
And all these years later, I still get excited when that one mallard comes in through timber and lands in your lap.
Does the deal.
And but do you remember your first hunt, duck hunt? Where you remember you killing your first duck?
Yeah, I do. I was, I think I was 13. I didn't. So I played football and hockey growing up, so I didn't have a whole ton of free time in the fall. And pretty much both of those, at least hockey for us in Minnesota is more than full time.
Yeah.
So I didn't have the opportunity to go out all the time. So me and my uncle were up. He had some ground where they grew up, and I remember we were sitting out there, and it was a slough, really, kind of a bigger pond. Puddle ducks and geese.
Yeah.
And my first bird. So we're sitting there, and he goes back to the truck. He's like, hey, I don't know what he was gonna go do, grab food or a sandwich or bring something back to me so I didn't have to walk.
Yeah.
So we're sitting there, and I'm sitting in the cattails, just kind of looking at whatever, anything, probably picking grass or, playing with the gun or something. And this goose comes in, and I'm like, oh man, here we go. Like, I don't know what to do.
Shoot it!
Sitting there watching this thing. It comes in, spins, makes one pass, and I'm like, oh man, I just blew it. I missed my opportunity, By the grace of God, for whatever, it does another, spin, comes back around, and it's flying right at me. And now I'm sitting there. I got no one to ask, like, what should I do? What do I do? Like, when do I shoot?
Right.
So I'm like, well, all right, here we go. And it's probably like 30 yards away now, again, coming right at me still. So I'm like, well, all right, let's try it. So I pull my gun up and shoot the goose, and boom, dead, sitting in this pond. So I'm like, all right, now what do I do? Like, I got to go get this thing, but the water was high. I'm like,
did your uncle have a dog?
No dog. Oh, no, nothing. So we had a little John boat back on the shoreline. I'm like, I'll just go walk and get it. So I start walking to go get it, and water's coming up, and it's like, it was one of those where it's like 2 steps away, but you shouldn't take the second step.
Yeah, you do it anyway.
Yeah, of course you do. It's right there. I'm not going back. So I take the second step, grab it, and water over the top of the waders, just like a little bit of like what would be like a little piece of wave, and you're like, whatever.
Yeah.
Grab it, and I walk back, and Uncle's still at the truck, and I drop my gun on shore, and I got this goose, and I am running through this little slough to go show it to him. Like, look what I did. I got it. And he's like, dude, you're soaked. He's like, you're going to be cold. I'm like, oh, yeah, I am cold.
Yeah, I am cold.
I'm
It's
freezing.
Minnesota.
Yeah. But I had no clue, and he was, ecstatic, fired up that I shot my first goose, and we shot ducks and all that. But I vividly remember that.
It's just amazing. I had a discussion last night at supper. It's just very hard to articulate the magic, for me, of duck hunting.
Oh.
And anybody that's ever been a blind woman knows I love to pull the trigger, but it's just so much more than that, And I can just remember talking to my grandparents, my daddy. They never talked about. They talked about the time they floated their hats and did this and did that. They never talked about duck numbers.
No.
It was all about those memories.
Yeah.
Those little nuggets. That's what they remembered.
Yep.
And even when I think back of any given duck season, I don't remember. I might remember, we shot a limit or we didn't, but I don't remember that. I remember something else. I remember eating sausage on a creek bank, or the joke somebody told, or the time I took a knee, or the retrieve my dog. Maybe just those little other attachments,
Yeah, it's goofy. For me, it's the weird details of the hunt, or the trip with buddies or family or whatever it is, or the dog did this, and the story about like a dog, it's like, that wasn't even a retrieve, but the dog did something out there, and you're like, that's awesome.
Yeah,
it's fun to watch.
Change the subject, because you are WildEar, and I do get asked quite a bit which hearing product obviously I'm wearing in a lot of these photos, but I'm 53 years old. I can barely hear it thunder.
Yep. I
can barely hear a turkey gobble. I mean, I bet you if I can hear a turkey gobble, he's killable if I can see him.
Yeah.
And I'm the guy that's got the TV up full bore and can barely understand. People can hear it out the mailbox on the street, but I'm struggling to hear words. And it's just all that darn shooting. And it's funny because here in convention, especially all of my clients.
Oh.
All of my clients. We're all that way. We're all that way. And boy, you let the intercom come on, and I can hear you talk, but I can't hear what you're saying. Let me get into a cafe with a lot of background noise.
Yeah,
I can't hear what anybody's saying anymore.
No.
And my clients are all the same way. We're like, huh? What? Yeah. Misunderstanding. I mean,
Oh, it's this entire room. They all come in, you say hi, and then they ask a question, and I either say what or they say what. It's like, oh boy, here we go. And I would say the easiest way to recognize that for most people, like you just said, is, you'll be watching TV and your volume's at 29.
Yeah, 29.
And the wife comes in and she puts it down to 11. You're like, oh,
yeah,
okay.
I can't read lips, baby. I haven't learned that yet.
You're going to be that guy with the headphones on across the room,
Yeah, actually at home for TV, I do have Bluetooth headphones.
Yeah.
Because nobody else can be in the den with me watching TV unless I'm wearing the headphones.
That's
where
right.
I can actually hear what they're saying.
Yep. Truck volume's the same thing.
Yeah.
All the way up, and wife comes in and she's like, turn it down.
And it really wasn't in adulthood that I started, my hearing started to diminish. I was actually, the first time I became acutely aware that my ears rang and I couldn't hear high-pitched noises, I was in college algebra in junior college, and let me just put it this way. One of the only reasons I showed up to that course anyway, because the teacher was quite attractive.
Yeah.
I was struggling to get by, but I showed up, to be a good sport about it. And she was a very cute teacher. And one day in the middle of writing something, a big formula up there or something, she slammed down the chalk. I tell you how long ago it was. It was chalk, not magic markers. And she turned around and said, turn it, she started scolding the class about turn that off, turn that. I mean, she's like, who is that? Who is that? I'm looking around dumbfounded like everybody else, and finally the girl behind me goes, dumbass, turn your watch off.
Yeah,
It was my watch. It was my watch alarm, and it had been going off the whole semester right in the middle of her time. I couldn't hear it.
Mayday.
I put my ear to it. I couldn't hear it. So after the class, I had to go up there and apologize to her. That's when I realized I couldn't hear anything.
Yeah, not good.
And not too long ago, I'm going to say 10 years ago, I was in a duck blind with some friends. Really nice duck call, little flooded cypress break, and some of them were physicians. And I was kind of in the middle of the blind, and my host was a couple of people down. And right before the hunt started, he handed me some hearing muffs that were amplified and had electric turn on. And he handed them to me, and I turned them on. And all of a sudden, I could hear things. I realized I hadn't been here. Like, I could hear those gadwalls up in the air that I couldn't see yet.
Right.
I could hear things that I've been missing out on, not knowing that.
Yep.
And
that's half of it.
That's half. That's the whole magic. Knowing, well, the very next day we're in the same blind. He hands those here, and just to be a smart aleck, I go, what? Hey, what am I, deaf or something? And the whole blind, every six people said, heck yeah, man, dude, you are deaf.
Yeah.
We have entire conversations. You're sitting there staring off into space like you can't hear nothing.
Yeah.
Like, God, this is bad, man. It's all that shotgunning.
Yep.
And you know what? For me, still, Zach, for me, a very hard. I mean, at the time, it just seemed like a hard pill to swallow. Those products of y'all's are $1,000.
Yep. $1,100.
Never mind $250 case on shells, quality shells, $3,000 shotgun, $2,000 a year in gas, $5,000 boat, $600 ice chest, $700 dog box,
Keep
bunch
going.
of lab training. I mean, the whole cumulative expense. I mean, never mind all that.
No.
I mean, I know guys that spend way more than $1,000 a year on shotgun shells.
Oh yeah.
And here I am I got one set of hearing and I blew it.
Yep. You don't get a second chance.
No, you don't get a second. And I've actually tried some of those hearing aids, digital reproduction, and the problem is they don't work for ringing ears and hearing loss due to shotgunning.
Right.
They can't tune them for that.
Right.
I tried a guy tried to sell me $1,000 pair of hearing aids.
Yep.
I'm like, hell, I'm gonna buy them. If I can hear better, I'm buying them. And but I want to try them first. And man, I could hear grit under my feet in the shop. I could hear grass crunching like somebody playing the drums. But I'd look up at a mockingbird 40 yards away, and I could see his mouth moving, but I couldn't hear.
Still
it.
Nothing.
I'm like, okay, these hearing aids don't work. I've still got some hearing, but at that point I said, I don't want to be stone cold deaf.
Right.
And that was what moved me to go ahead and get a set.
Yeah.
Of those WildEars, and of course, y'all have been very good about, especially a clumsy guy like me, when they've been damaged or lost, something like that. Y'all been very good about keeping me in WildEar.
Yeah.
Would you describe all your clients pretty similarly? I mean, is anybody smart enough to literally be proactive?
Some are. I think they're finally realizing it now. Like, hey, I can prevent this. And you get into a room like this, and you see your 50, 60, 70-year-old guy, and he's like, hey, I got nothing left. It's too late. It's not too late. You can still
protect what you got.
Save what you have left. But that generation is talking to the next, and they're like, hey, like, you're going to do this, and that's a 20-year-old kid, and they make a set. They'll buy it and make a set for him. So here you go.
Yeah.
Take care of it. And you can kind of it's hard because it's a lot of money, $1,100 is a lot of money.
That's a lot of money.
But when you look at the grand scheme of things, and
well, what's your hearing worth?
Exactly. You can buy a new tooth. What's your health worth? You can buy a new tooth. You can buy a new hip. You cannot get your hearing back.
Cannot replace hearing. Cannot replace eyesight.
That's right. You're into hearing aids, and now you're living with hearing aids, and you can talk to anyone you know with them. How inconvenient they are. Of every single factor, you got to bring them. You got to do this. You got to do that. It's brutal.
As I'm talking to because people I've hunted with for a long time ask me, the number one reason I did not wear hearing muffs is because it messes up my mount.
Yeah.
I don't care what you tell me. Those hearing muffs are made for maybe rifles and handguns. They're not made for shotguns.
Yeah, pistol shooters.
And we all put them on our kids because they're cheap and they're easy, but you're not doing your kid a favor teaching them to shoot with headphones on. And then the plugs, and stuff like that, I couldn't even hear myself call.
Right.
And let alone hear anything else. And that's not a good situation.
No.
And now I can.
Right.
That is the one thing I love about it is I can actually hear better with them in than without. But they attenuate
and hunt
when I'm hunting when the gun goes off. And I didn't realize that some of these headaches I was having after really good hunts.
Yep.
Had nothing to do so much with the shotgun recoil. It had to do with all that blast going off in my ears.
It's hearing. It's not just you. It's not just your gun. It's
my neighbors.
Yeah, if you got 3, 4, 5 other buddies in the pit blind layouts with you or whatever, and
let alone the guy that ported for some reason.
Yeah, and you got there's fancy jokes out, and it's not your gun. If they all shoot 3 times, just do the math. 4 guys 3 times, and you're going to have 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 groups for the day. The math there, and then now all of a sudden it's a 4-day, 5-day hunt, or it's a full season. Your exposure to it's a lot.
It's terrible.
If you're going to go shoot trap, skeeter, sporting clays, every single individual out there has hearing protection on, whether it's plugs or electronics, whatever. So it's like, why would you wear it there but not wear it?
Exactly.
When you're hunting, it doesn't make sense to me.
Exactly. It's because they want to hear the ducks, but they just don't realize something like this exists. And I'm not having this discussion with you to advertise. It's important to me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it's just sharing. Man, I lost my hearing.
Yeah.
But now then again, this technology didn't exist either back when I was growing up.
Correct.
You could stick Kleenex in your ears or something, man.
And that's what it was.
Yeah.
Guys are like, I used to take a cotton ball. It's like, hey, I get it. The sun's going to set tonight. I don't care. Either, if it's WildEar or the other brands out there, that's fine. Just do something, though, because it's not worth it.
Yeah.
It's not at all. There's way more important things in life that you probably want to hear and listen to when you get older.
Yeah. No, it's just a day and age that $1,000 is a lot of money. Then again, relative to the whole scheme of things, especially in the world of duck hunting, really not.
No, not if, you look at it 10, 15, 20 years, it's like, okay, $20, $50 a season, quote unquote, $100 a year, no big deal. Like, let's do it.
But of course, my season's a long time. I duck hunt a lot of different places throughout the year, so I get my money's worth out of them relative to a guy that hunts 10 days. But I actually put them to use outside the duck blind too. Don't judge me for this, but my wife wanted to go see Elton John this year.
Yeah, perfect.
And man, I enjoyed that. I don't care what you think of Elton John. I guarantee anybody listening knows the word to every single song he played that night.
Good song.
He's Elton John. Well, that kicked something off, and the hottest band in the world, Kiss.
Yeah.
And I got to go see them play their absolute. Well, who knows? They may come back, but they're 70 years old. Their last concert,
yeah.
And I laughed from the time that cannon went off and the fireworks went off. I laughed so hard; it was so fun.
Yeah.
And I had my WildEars in.
No way.
It's crazy going to a concert now, based the last time I went to a concert back in the 80s, early 90s, there's no smoke of any kind.
Right.
Wafting around. There's none of that mess going on. But you can buy liquor drinks, which that's different.
Yeah.
You don't have to smuggle it in. And of course, both the performers and me are way older. And it ain't a bunch of teenagers in there. It's all guys my age. And I wasn't the only one with hearing protection.
Yeah, I believe that.
There were other people in there with hearing protection.
Yeah. You can still hear it.
Yeah.
You just don't have to.
Oh, I could hear it just fine.
Get blasted by the speakers and
No,
you're just drive home with a headache.
I wasn't tone deaf or
Right.
my ears ringing.
Yeah.
That may have had something to do with me losing my hearing with some of them crazy concerts I went to back in the day.
I'm sure.
What is your hunting situation now? I know you duck and goose hunt a lot.
Yeah.
Do you still deer hunt?
I don't. I'm not a big game guy at all.
Yeah. All birds, man.
I bet you I can count on one hand how many times I've deer hunted in the last 5 years. I'm a waterfowl hunter. I love goose hunting. That's what I got into bad in college.
And you cut a pretty wide swath. I mean, you hunt. Yeah. Gosh, I know you hunt in Canada.
Yeah, I start in Canada and pretty much go all the way down, either Kansas, Missouri.
Are you a goose guy or a duck guy?
More of a goose guy than ducks, because we got those, and at least hunting them at home.
You got a culture for it.
Yeah, I mean it's hard to not hunt them in Minnesota.
Yeah,
they're everywhere. And we get a pretty good crack at them.
The first conversation I had in this format was with Corey Loeffler out in western Minnesota, and he's a goose whisperer.
Yep.
And just grew up cutting his teeth on a goose call.
Yeah.
And all you guys up there in that northern tier like that. And I just wondered if you had a preference, which one it was.
I love shooting ducks. Our problem is we'll get them on opening weekend, and then there seems to be a void. There's not a lot of birds around.
Yeah.
And then the birds will show up, early or mid-December, and that's, our season's done. So we'll chase them on the river, but the real numbers don't get there till it's too late.
What about the geese? How long do y'all hunt them for up in Minnesota?
Season typically opens 1st of September, and that'll run through end of December, like Christmas.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a long season.
So, yeah, absolutely.
For shooting Canada geese.
Yeah.
Have you heard anything? I just had this thought. Have you heard anything about Minnesota opening a tundra swan, trumpeter swan season?
There's been talks about it, where they're starting
DNR is really seriously considering.
Yeah, they're starting to gather some information on them, which will, by them gathering information for a year or two, that will probably lead to a season.
It'll be small. Cool.
Oh, it'd be awesome, because there's a little pocket of those around too.
Oh, there are. I was up there with Chose at his house.
Yep.
And there were a dozen.
He's always got a bunch in his little pond.
Yeah, I think they show up and breed. It looked like a couple of adults and their offspring.
Yeah. He's got the waterfall.
They're everywhere.
The waterfall zoo behind his house.
Yeah, he does. Got a waterfowl zoo right there.
And he doesn't shoot a one of them. He doesn't hunt it. He sits there and you'll talk to him like, dude, let's go shoot those. He's like, no, man.
Those are his pets.
Yeah. He likes to have his coffee in the morning and look out that kitchen window, and he'll watch all of them. And you'll sit there, if you go over there, you'll just sit there at that table and just stare at them for an hour.
Yeah.
And his wife Bonnie will be like, let's go. What are you guys doing?
Have you got any more hunting trips planned now that y'all are shut down in Minnesota? Have you got any more hunting trips planned for the year?
Yeah, I got a couple more work shows here in January. Dallas and Shot and some other shows, and I think we'll probably get down to maybe Kansas again.
Oh yeah,
a couple, maybe for a duck hunt down there with some guys, and then we'll probably go to the Hurt Locker again in maybe end of Jan or February and run around Christian and Baylor.
Forrest and I made a huge spin through the Mississippi and Central Flyways before Christmas, and catfish flawed over in Mississippi. I asked him the other day how he was doing, because he got some of the best dirt in the state of Mississippi to kill a duck on. He said, we're killing some ducks every day.
Yeah.
Which kind of summed up to me the entire
That's the season.
North American duck season.
Yeah.
But man, it was 70 degrees last night when I got to the hotel, and I woke up this morning and it's gusting 30 miles an hour and it feels like 25 degrees.
Yep.
There's snow up in Wichita Falls. That'll either make stale ducks move, or maybe even push some new birds down.
Yeah.
So there's hope that we could end on a good note this year.
I hope so.
I do.
I mean, all the guys I talk to, and they're killers, and everyone seemed to kind of ride that struggle bus a little bit.
Yeah.
And it's like, oof. That's not normal.
What are you going to do?
For some of these guys.
I mean, I'm going to duck hunt. I'm not going to go ice skating or something,
No. Well, if you want to go ice skate, come up. To Minnesota, and it's minus 30 at home.
Man.
So.
I love to visit Minnesota. I love to visit up north. I truly, absolutely love to visit in the fall. But I've just realized, not in the summer, but I've just realized, I've got a rule in life. One of maybe 5 or 6 hardcore rules is, if I have to own a snow shovel, I'm not living there. You know what I'm saying?
You'd have to own a couple.
Yeah. I'm just not. I never forget, I actually had a neighbor one time. He lived in town he came from, I think, Minnesota or Michigan. But I was in the garage one night. I go, man, what the hell is that? He goes, it's a snow shovel. I go, we ain't going to need that around here, thank God.
Yeah.
But I just haven't been up here in y'all's part of the world enough. I'm not fooling with all that cold weather. And I don't get ice fishing either. I just don't get ice fishing. I think it's a northern thing.
You got to do it.
I know love it.
You got to come up and do it. I promise you.
No, sitting on a block of ice in a hut, just looking at a hole in the ground, that just don't sound sexy.
It's cold, but
there you go.
You can be comfortable. You're not going to be warm or hot, but it's the whole experience, you know. You're going to ride a snowmobile or take your truck, drive it on the lake. There's 2, 3, 4 feet of snow or ice, you know, and you got a little bit of snow up top, and they'll plow the roads. It's like little communities out there. You know, there's road signs. It's the whole deal.
Yeah.
And you can, pop from house to house, or, there's the
house
big
to house. You ain't got one of these setups with like a generator and a TV, watch the Super Bowl,
the big
drink beer,
They're
and all
awesome.
that good stuff.
They're phenomenal.
That sounds all right.
And that's what I do. I'd start you with that, and then the next day we'd go earn it out of a portable. Yeah. But the big permanent houses are fancy.
Yeah, no, that sounds. I might be in for the beer and the TV.
Yeah,
or something
absolutely.
like that.
Sign me up.
That might be good.
We'll do it.
But Zach, look, I hear the crowd starting to wake up. I think folks are starting to stream in to our show. Folks, thank y'all for listening. Check us out at Ramsey Russell Get Ducks and at WildEar.
WildEar.com.
WildEar.com. And what's y'all's Instagram account?
WildEar Official.
WildEar Official at WildEar Official. Thank y'all for listening. I'll see you next time. Duck Season Somewhere is produced by Ben Page. Original soundtrack by our friend Cody Huggins.